It's time for the next act. Now, this next act turned up tonight, and you got to admire the bolshiness of this. She just turned up and said, "Yeah, I'm a comedian, can I have a slot?" And me and Joe were like, "Yeah, go on, man. Yeah, all right." So, please welcome to the stage, Josh Kingsford.
Hey, all. I wanted to be an actor when I was growing up, but then I grew up and I realized I didn't want to be an actor. I just wanted to be on the Graham Norton show. Have you seen the Graham Norton show? It's a pretty good show. Do you remember when Graham, he didn't have the beard? And I was like, Graham, you wouldn't suit a beard. And then he grew the beard, and I was like, oh, I love the beard. I can picture being on the Graham Norton show so clearly. On the couch, so good. Emma Thompson's on my left, Emma Watson's on my right. There's a flirtation going on, but we've got it under control. We're all sharing espresso martinis. And then Graham, he'd ask me about my movie, and I get all emotional, and Patrick Stewart would come out from under the coffee table and squeeze my knee. And then Emma Watson, she'd hand me a big box of tissues. She'd say I would have made a much better Ron Weasley, then we'd hold hands. Then it gets to the end of the show, yeah? And remember what they do at the end of the show? They do lever for Red Cher, yeah? And who gets the lever? Only bloody Muggins over here. Because I have absolutely crushed it. I've been so funny. I told that story about getting sunburnt in Fiji, and Graham, he laughed so hard, he rocked back his head so you could see the underside of all his teeth, and he roared like a mighty lion. So I'm doing lever for Red Cher, yeah? I'm doing lever. And who gets in the red chair? Who always gets in the red chair? Some old lady, isn't it? Some old lady just wittering on, telling a nonsense story, going nowhere. And I would be ruthless. First port she takes, I'm looking straight down the camera lens and sending those stockings flying into the sky. Although, if I had like one quibble with Graham's show, is that the tipping of the red chair never quite enough, is it? It's not. You want people to be punished appropriately for the stories they tell. Like when that old lady tells that boring story, I don't want to see her get rotated 90 degrees. I want to see her go through 4 layers of drywall and end up in the car park. Like one of those James Bond ejector seats, just... Then she'll become a better storyteller, eh? There are consequences. So every time you're spinning a yarn, me and Graham are throwing a grenade back and forth outside the window. Maybe if you worked a little harder, you'd be up here with me and Patty Stew. Instead of down in the peasant section on your silly red chair. It just became, you're on the move again. You can't be stopped.
Sorry.
You've done the put down for yourself. What a lovely, lovely lady. You're a legend. It just became a problem for me, actually, just like obsessing over celebrities. I still do it now, if I'm being honest. I don't know. Like, I'm not gay, right? But the other day, I Googled Ryan Gosling because I needed to. Just to see what he was up to, you know? I don't know if you've ever done this. The other day, I was walking back to my flat, and I had a full-on fantasy that when I opened the door, Ryan would be there. He'd be standing there with a cold beer in one hand and a hug in the other. Then he'd take my bag and he'd ask me about my day. And then he'd go into the kitchen and he's made all this pasta. And it's like way too much pasta. And I'm looking at him going, Ryan, what the fuck? That's way too much pasta. And he looks at me with a big spoon and goes, oh, I know, I just want to feed you up so bad. And he starts mixing the shit out of it. Then he takes a big handful of pasta and he's throwing it at me. I'm picking it up, throwing it back. Everything's in slow motion now. Parmesan cheese, spinach leaves, bolognese. He's whipping portobello mushrooms at me. I'm blocking them with the compost bin lid. And then who opens the door? It's only Hugh Jackman, isn't it? But he's got a colander on his head and he's holding a big pavlova. And he goes, oh, which one of you cheeky young boys wants dessert? And he fucking sends it. And then he does Wolverine claws, yeah? Wolverine claws, but instead of claws, they're shards of meringue. Maybe I am gay. Yeah. I just like going to the movies, looking at the pretty people. That's what I call them. And that, to me, is the key to being a good actor, is be attractive. The acting, you can learn that later. But attractiveness, well, that's just talent. You either have it or you don't. Like I hit a new low the other day. I was watching a movie that was based on a true story, and at the end of the movie, they showed a photo of the guy it was actually based on. And I just remember looking at my laptop. Oh no! I wouldn't have watched it if I knew you looked like that. Good grief. Incredible true story. You saved a group of Syrian refugees from a pack of grizzly bears whilst climbing up Mount Everest. Doesn't matter to me, unless you have the eyes I can swim in. You're a retired lighthouse keeper who finds a child on an abandoned piece of driftwood and you decide to raise it on your own in a heartwarming, family-friendly adventure. It's really not for me, mate, unless I can use your cheekbones as a rock wall. The amount of shits I give will continue to amount to zero. It's their fault too, isn't it? Their fault. If they want to tell some horrible, mawkish, sentimental true story, the least they can do is give me a little bit of Clooney to nibble on to get me through it. Glass of Charlemagne to keep me in the game. But I'm not watching a documentary here, you know? If I wanted to watch a normal-looking person struggle through something, I'd take my nan to a library. Simon Pegg in a romantic comedy. So what the fuck fuck is that? That's not good enough. Hemsworth or death. To be fair, right, some celebrities I only find attractive because Hollywood insisted they were attractive. Like old Benedict Cumberbatch. Have you seen him? Have you looked at him though? Like, if he walked past you on the street, you'd go, what the fuck is that? He looks like Alan Rickman had sex with a gecko. He should be crawling around on his belly in the Sahara looking for crickets, not in film. I'm waiting for the day when he's interviewed on the red carpet, except there's a fly buzzing around, and I'll just wait for his eyes to move in separate directions, and his tongue goes whoosh, whoosh. Then he flops onto his belly and slithers up the nearest wall. Waits for Martin Freeman to come over and feed him some cicadas. But Hollywood, they were relentless, weren't they? They wouldn't stop. They held old Cumby up like Simba in The Lion King. Cover of GQ. And went, this pale salamander is attractive now. And we all went, oh shit, yeah, he is. I love those beady little eyes and that long neck. Who else are we letting in this week? Who else? Daniel Radcliffe. Oh, goblin-y Daniel Radcliffe. Is he attractive now? Adam Driver. Old sad gnome-faced Adam Driver. Are you crazy? Ed Sheeran. Are you fucking nuts, Ed Sheeran? All right, back the truck up. Let them all in. I'm sensitive. I was sensitive little boy. I had all the stuff. I collected Beanie Babies. I had a pet frog. I drank banana milkshakes. Telltale signs of an absolute champion. My friends, when we were growing up, they'd make me play video games, but they're so Ugh. Violent, hey? I didn't like that. So I became a video game pacifist, a conscientious objector. Like, my friends, they'd make me play Call of Duty, and my tactic would be run around till I found a nice corner in a room, and I'd sit down and put a landmine directly in front of me, so if an enemy ran into the room, we'd both blow up in the process. At least that way, I wouldn't have to live with the guilt. If I had it my way, when I'm playing The Witcher 3, I wouldn't have to kill a thing. Instead, I'd set up some kind of therapist couch in the woods, and all the ghouls and goblins that you usually spend 20 minutes trying to destroy would gather around the campfire and tell me their stories. My only weapon would be a pen, and my ammo would be friendship. I can picture it so clearly, you know. Some disillusioned werewolf staring up at the stars, his big furry paws resting on his belly while he tells me about his dad. Maybe I'm not hungry for villagers. Maybe I'm hungry for love. Press and hold X to hug. Now it's just me and this werewolf hugging it out while some bat-faced demon plays Maroon 5 Sunday Morning on acoustic guitar. It's okay. It's okay. Daddy's here. Let's get you to a checkpoint. You've made so much progress. To be honest, when I was at uni, I played video games a lot because they're a good chance to be not me. Anyone but. And I think my mum, she got worried about me. Like, she'd call me and she'd say, Josh, you gotta have your own experiences, you know? You gotta get out there, live a life. But I had my own experiences. I had plenty of them. Like, I'll admit, when I got my first mission aboard the SSV Normandy, I was cocky, you know? Maybe even a bit of a renegade. I mean, what can I say? I had years of intergalactic military service, the rank of Spectre, a customized spacesuit tailor-made to fit my slim figure as a tall African-American woman. But I'm telling you, some of the things the Citadel asked me to do when you're on your own on the far reaches of the galaxy without enough ammo or supplies, when the odds of survival are 1,000 to 1 and you've made so many bad dialogue decisions, when you see half your squad get wiped out in an unannounced Reaper attack, I'm telling you, that changes a woman. And I know what you're thinking. Was Legion's decision to sacrifice himself to ensure the ongoing harmony between the Quarians and the Geth really necessary? I don't know. They say he was just AI, a piece of metallic shrapnel stapled together by the hands of some uncaring god. But he was also a friend, and I live with his sacrifice every day. Keelah Se'lai. Keelah Se'lai. But most video games are fucking nonsense, aren't they? Most video games you turn a zombie into chainsaw sushi, or you spend 30 hours helping a dwarf collect all his marbles. He's conveniently scattered to every corner of the map. Should have checked for a hole in your satchel, you silly dwarf. Did anyone here go to university? Yeah? Oh, cool. I went to university. That's where everything went wrong. To To be honest, I spent most of the time at uni. I miss my mum. Or I miss the rules of living at home. I like the rules. Hot chocolate at 8, in bed by 9. No, you can't watch Grey's Anatomy, it's too provocative. Oh, Mum! But at the flat, at uni, there are no rules, there are nothing. Chaos. I was eating cereal at midnight, porridge at midnight, a bowl of yogurt just after. To be honest, there was a lot of breakfast items at midnight. That's when you know your life's going off the rails, when you're reaching for the marmalade at 2 a.m. And then you realise you don't have any bread. Oh, I can either drink it or eat it with some rice. What would Paddington do? I had one flatmate while I was at uni, Sam, but he abandoned me. Just 2 weeks in, he shaved his head, became a Buddhist and meditated 4 times a day. Was not what I wanted. I wanted a friend, not a miso soup guzzling monk. So he was off collecting Rothkos, trying to see through his 5th eye or whatever. So I wouldn't see him ever, except once every evening, because we'd always get home to the flat at roughly the same time. And we both lost our keys in the first week. But Sam found that if you ran at the front door hard enough, the latch on the lock would loosen and the door would fly open. And I remember the first time he did it, there's a chunk of door missing from the door. It's a big hole in the wall, and he turns to me in a very Buddhist way and says, "I unlocked it." "You did not unlock it, you big bloody banana." Sure, you get a couple bricks and unlock every house in the neighbourhood. That's not what I said, by the way. I just went, "Yo, the frosted glass." So that's how Sam got in, but I didn't really appreciate him busting our door. So as a silent protest, I'd always leave my back window wide open. And that's how we got home every night. Sam shoulder charging the front door like a little Buddha battering ram, and me collapsing through the back window like an anemic slinky. Just pathetically flopping over the window ledge, back first, disappearing. I looked like a wet piece of bread falling down a well. If anyone saw, it'd look like the saddest burglary ever. Just depressed Dalai Lama, Pegasus kicking the doorknob, while emaciated Ron Weasley ragdolls into the darkness. If you saw burglars like that, you'd feel bad for them. You'd leave your window on the latch and the TV unplugged in the hopes you might cheer them up. I wasn't going to say this bit, actually, because it's embarrassing, but because my window was always open, my bed was always wet. Which is what you want, isn't it? Lovely, wet beds. And I bought a massive bed that was the size of the room, because I thought there are going to be so many ladies. There were no ladies. 0 ladies. Looking back, I wish I got a single, because there's less pressure to put someone in it. It's better than falling through your window every night and landing on 2.5 square meters of total sexual failure. And that bed was gross too. I washed that bed 3 times in 4 years. It got mouldy. I'm pretty sure a fish lived in it. By the end, I was glad a lady never came over. Because if she spent more than an hour in that salty, wet duvet, she would have got scurvy. And I don't want to sleep with one of those pirates of the Caribbean talking about the curse of the Black Pearl while she's stealing my virginity. finger me, Jack. Take off me nightie and put me under the full moon, ye scallywag. Oh, go slow now, or you'll crack a rib. Nah, you're steady as the tide, my boy. Nah, you're great pace for the penetration, my lad. I'll sing a wee shanty to get you in the rhythm. Yo-ho, all together, hoist the colours high. Very good, me lad. Yo-ho, thieves and beggars, never shall we die. Sing it with me, lad. Yo-ho, all together, hoist the colours high. Kiss me nose holes. Yo-ho, thieves and beggars. They all start coming in. Never shall we die. To Davy Jones. To be honest, I'm not even sure I like doing that. Bit much, isn't it? Fantasy, pirate, sex scene. In front of two audience members who look just really like my parents. It is uncanny, actually. And I don't know why you guys chose to do this. My mum has her hair like that, and it is really freaking me out a little bit. And your eye contact, actually, is scarily similar to my father's. Well, it's the most eye contact I've had in 16, 17 years. Good work, Dad. Proud of you, mate. So, it was a bit of a grotty flat, but the one thing that was best in it was we had a bath. It was like, oh, let me put the mic in there. I'm standing on it. I'll stop doing it when you stop laughing. It's funny sound though, eh? Somebody at the door. Okay, what am I doing? So, there was a bath in the flat, yeah? It was like the best thing in the flat. Big, circular green avocado bathtub. So good. But like, it's always too hot when you get in the bath. Like, you put your hand in to test, feels fine, and then you put a foot in, and it's like, oh my God, my leg's falling off. Or you ever get like both feet in the bath, and then you like crouch? You know? And you know, Mike's up there now, but you know when you crouch and like, you know that underbit you have? That's like not genitals, but like between genitals. When the water hit that place, where no one has ever touched me, I would moan like a beluga whale. Like a haunted kettle. So what I would do instead is I would get in the bath first and then put the water on and adjust temperature as I went. Clever. What I didn't consider was how sad this would make me feel. Because regardless of how sexy you look when the bath is full, surrounded by bubbles draping a leg over the side, when you're sat, totally naked, in 2 inches of lukewarm water, I look like a creature in a laboratory. With a couple candles lit, I look like Gollum on his day off. I look like that weird thing in Pan's Labyrinth, you know? Like if Sam came in, all he would see would be this. Probably not worth it. It's a lot of Sharpie wasted on that. A lot of effort. Left hand as well, that's hard to scribble on. So I'd go to the flat parties sometimes, but I wasn't equipped. I hadn't talked to anyone, and you know, been thinking about sleeping with Captain Barbosa. It's not a good mental state to be in. So I'd just hold a cup, stand on the corner. I'd look in, just a sea of bucket hats, bras, and dubstep. Just over here, there's a young lad just spewing up Red Bull and red wine all over the rug. Oh, if only we could trade places, my friend. So I'd just go stand in the toilet, look at the wall. But there was always one thing that would bring me out of the toilet, because there was always a sound I'd hear at the flat parties that would make me feel okay. Because there was always one person at the flat parties that I always wanted to be, and that was the guitar dude. Greg, is the music working? Is it? No. Oh, it's not connected on the thing. It is quiet. Should we? Oh, this is awkward and disappointing now. It was going quite good, wasn't it? Should I just? You need the Greg. Can you connect it to the Bluetooth? Or you got? Sing. Oh no, now we're cooking. Okay, I might hold it. Is that loud enough? Yeah. Okay, nice. Greg, can you play it again? Just start it from the beginning. We'll pretend none of this ever happens, yeah? Not now, Greg, I need a moment just to just get the vibe right, yeah? So let's pretend that was flawless, yeah? It was. Thank you. You delusional, heckling young man. You're my best friend now. So there was always one person at the flat parties that I always wanted to be. Now. Don't say now. You're not my manager. Now. Hit it. Give him a beat. No. Because there was always one person at the flat parties that I always wanted to be. Now. Is it playing now? Yeah. And that was the guitar dude. He was cool, eh? A little bit quieter, Greg. Just a smidge. Greg? Are you there? That was the guitar dude. He was cool, eh? With the long hair and the white linen shirt, revealing a perfect V of tan skin. He'd say something cool like, "Call me Rory." Okay. He sits down on an old green ottoman. The fabric's worn and faded. On one side, the seam's been pulled out by a cat, performing a rhythmic late-night stretch. Rory says he is a cat. He was always saying funny things like that. By this point, a small group has gathered, but Rory doesn't seem to mind. He unzips a black canvas bag in the shape of a guitar, and he pulls out a pick. And a guitar! It's an old Fender Malibu, varnished in grey, maybe blue. He says the moon was that colour the night his dad told him he had to go away for a while. He turns to the open window, and I swear he could see the same moon from all those years ago. He was about to say something else. Then he looked down at his guitar and let the guitar talk for him. Wonderwall. Hey there, Delilah. Wonderwall again, he's got range! Do you need to know more than 5 bar chords? Not when you listen to Rory. Not when he's playing Hotel California with his eyes closed. Afterwards, all the girls gravitate around him. He was like the Pied Piper, but if you replaced child suicide with really good vibes. He heads out the front door with a brown-haired Spanish exchange student named Maria. Now, I'm going to be honest, this is where my part in the story ends, you know. I wasn't there that night, I don't know what happened, but I can guess. They're walking home right down the middle of the road. Their bodies illuminated solely by the glow of the streetlights. The white lines of the road markings gliding under their almost touching fingers. Maria turns to Rory and asks, "Why did you leave your..." Fucked it up. Maria turns to Rory and asks, "Why did you leave your guitar in the lounge? Don't you need it?" And he comes up real close, whispering hot breath on her earlobe and says, "No way, Jose. Don't you get it? Music is all around us." She says, "Wow. I never thought of it like that." They walk inside his bedroom, candles already lit. How? A hint of rosemary in the air. Why? He must be cooking a lamb. She turns to look at a copy of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix lying open on his pillow. The darkest one. When she turns back, she sees Rory has changed into a pair of Levi's denim overalls. And he's holding a small electronic harp. He strums it once, and all of her clothes fall off. He kisses her once on the cheek, plays a G chord on her nipple, and they both come at the same time. In the morning, Maria wakes to find the room empty, the candles are gone, but the guitar is now at the foot of the bed, and the window is open. She stops and smiles as she listens to the breeze outside, and she thinks to herself, just maybe, you're gonna be the one that saves me. It's Wonderwall! It's Wonderwall, yeah? It's like Wonderwall! I had a hard time at uni. I think I was wanting to be other people all the time, and the thing that would cheer me up after a bad day was I'd watch Harry Potter. That was like my favourite thing ever. I used to watch them back to back to back to back. But I realised that like whatever's in your childhood, you should leave it there, because you go back, re-experience it as an adult, you'll just ruin it for yourself, you know? Like, I was watching the first one, and it's that scene at Christmas where Ron wakes Harry up and Harry gets the invisibility cloak for the first time. Do you know the scene I'm talking about? And I'm watching it. Oh, Merry Christmas, Harry. Oh, Merry Christmas, Ron. Yeah, they can't act at all. I'm watching Harry wrap the invisibility cloak, and I'm just looking at Daniel Radcliffe's crummy CGI head floating in midair, and I think, why does Harry Potter celebrate Christmas? Why does he celebrate Christmas? Like, they're wizards running around a castle casting spells and stuff, but when December 25th rolls around, they dedicate a day to Jesus Christ, our Lord and Saviour. A pagan holiday doesn't quite gel with all this witchcraft and wizardry. And I started to think about it, and it all just fell apart, you know? Like, they call us muggles, right? Like, we're the flipping dumb ones, but we've got lights that work, Netflix, indoor heating. They're throwing coal into a train to get to school. They're looking at like the 1800s with gas lamps and, you'll give it here, Malfoy, or I'll knock you off your broom. A broom? Get in the helicopter and shut up. They've got Lumos. We've got guns. We would absolutely destroy them. Wingardium Leviosa is not going to do much when you're throwing a nuke over Hogwarts. Like, the only way Harry Potter would actually make any sense if it was in the middle of potions class or something, and Snape's talking to everyone, and he goes, "Get out your ink and quill and turn to page 300 Harry Potter, what are you writing on?" "Sir." "It's an apple Mac. Oh, it's bloody brilliant. I'll DM you on Instagram." And then, like, Hagrid kicks open the door, and he's holding some takeaway coffees, and he's like, "Whoa, sorry I'm late. My bloody Nespresso broke, so I had to go to Starbucks. Flat white for you, Harry, Americano for you, Hermione, hot chocolate for you, Ron. I put the cinnamon on it, my boy. I hope they're all right." And then, like, Harry grabs a coffee, and he takes a sip, and he goes, "You, Hagrid, that coffee's so good. It's espresso patronum." And like a stream of coffee beans come flying out the end of his wand. Everybody's laughing now. But Ron laughs so hard he snorts hot chocolate all down his robes. He's like, "Bloody hell, good one, Harry." And then Dobby appears out of nowhere, and everyone's like, "Oh, hooray, it's Dobby." And Dobby's like, "Yes, it is me, Dobby. I've just been informed. He who must not be named is not the enemy. The real enemy is the transgender community." Good grief, Dobby! Where do you get those bloody ideas from? Master made Dobby a Twitter account. Dobby is a racist. And just before he disappears, he goes, "And also, Dumbledore is gay." And the last thing you see is Dumbledore poke his head into the room, and he's like, "I never thought my sexuality was relevant to the novels. See ya." You just see him disappearing. He's got skinny jeans on. He's smoking a Bertie Bott's every flavoured vape. Can't go back to Harry Potter now, can I? It's ruined. Every time I think about it, I just think about Neville Longbottom matching with Lord Voldemort on Tinder. That's what I would do. I would think about Harry Potter too much. I'd poke a bunch of holes in that. I'd make that rubbish. And now I'd think about other things I used to love. I'd poke a bunch of holes in them. I'd make them rubbish until I had nothing left. Just a swirling, crazy brain. And I found the one thing that would help is I'd listen to music all the time. So I had a big pair of noise-cancelling headphones that I'd wear all day. And I mean all day. I'd wake up, headphones on. The only times I'd take them off were when I had a lecture or they fell down my back when I was shaking my willy after a wee. I would describe my music taste during this period as suicidal Coldplay. I mostly listen to a guy called Bon Iver. Yeah. With a bit of Fleet Foxes, Arcade Fire, Alt J. And I know what you're thinking. Josh, why did you only listen to high-pitched, scraggly-bearded men singing long, convoluted metaphors over an acoustic guitar with the occasional sound of a depressed violinist playing the saxophone? It's a good question. My answer would be, why do I want to understand what they're saying? When they moan that gibberish so beautifully. When your mother is a postage stamp and your father's made of Lego, how can a father try to hug his son when he cannot move his elbows? Hug me, Lego Daddy. Hug me with your cup holder hands. Hug me, Lego Daddy. The box is 7 to 12. I don't understand. Hug me, Lego Daddy. 1,200 bricks and I don't know where to start. Love me now, Daddy. If you assemble a hug, I'll build you a heart. That song was called Dad's Crippling Arthritis. But that's what I learned though, is that music sometimes is good, but when you listen to it all the time, like when your life becomes a black and white music video for a Radiohead song, that's when you know you need to make a change. Yeah. It was a struggle. I think I didn't know what I was doing, and I remember I would wake up most mornings and I'd go brush my teeth and I'd look in the mirror, and that's when I'd really look in the mirror, you know, when you see through your eyes to the scared little boy underneath, and I think, who are you, mirror man? What's your plan? What do you want from me? Why are you looking at me? Why can't you give me a moment of peace? Why can't you let me just brush my teeth? This university career hasn't turned out how you had in mind. You're failing all your classes and you're endlessly behind. You're studying law, Josh. Why? Your ambitions aren't that regal. You've got the focus of a seagull. The only reason you wanted to study law was from watching Boston Legal. And Suits. And The Good Wife. Remember The Good Wife? And House as well. You remember House? Yeah. House was about medicine, wasn't it? Yeah. 2 grunts, 1 happy, 1 sad. Yeah. Yeah. You haven't done the readings. This was all a huge mistake. You're so nervous sitting in the class, your hands begin to shake. The lecturer drones in a tedious drawl. How many yards of glass I would crawl to escape this grim reaper of jargon, this check shirt, bald-headed maitre d' of monotony, who's all the irresistible charm of a sloth undergoing a colonoscopy. It's so boring, but I'm so scared. At random intervals, he picks on people cruelly, gliding a stubby finger from seat to seat. Dear God, I'll do absolutely anything. Just don't let that finger in my face meet. But like destiny, that horrid digit points in my direction. Here comes the question. Now, I didn't really hear the question. All I heard was kind of white noise. He's definitely moving his mouth. He's looking at me, and I am freaking out. I feel like my soul has left my body, and he's like looking down at me, shrugging his shoulders. You're on your own, mate. After about 20 seconds, lecturer's mouth stops moving, and this is my face. I'm surrounded by silence, no words I can see. There's 300 people staring at me. So it was almost a relief when I looked down and could see the urine talking for me. It made my seat warm and wet. Have you ever felt your left pocket get wet? The girl beside me is just like staring at this dark stream trickling across bright blue denim jeans. I feel like I'm about to cry, but I don't want anyone to know. Sir, I'm not feeling so well, so I'm gonna go. I walk into the disabled toilet. I sit down on the toilet seat, take a fistful of loo roll and turn it into yellow mulch, pressing it into my jeans. I look up and there's a mirror. Who are you? It was hard. It was a struggle. I thought things would change or I'd grow up. Instead I felt more confused, more alone, more isolated. But I had a job that was like a couple days a week in a coffee shop, just washing dishes. And I got in and they said, we've hired a new guy. And this guy comes up to me and shakes my hand. He says, hey man, my name's Rory. He had like long hair and a white linen shirt, revealing, we all know what it was revealing. He was cool though, he was nice. He was studying art history. He'd released an album on Bandcamp called Sonic Tears, but it wasn't doing very well. So we just kind of chat side by side with this big old clanking dishwasher. And one day I said, hey Rory, doing anything over the weekend? And he said, yeah man, I'm going camping. I said, what? He said, yeah, they're like these little huts you can stay in just outside the city, and I take my bag and maybe my guitar, let's go on my own. And I said, Roy, don't it get lonely out there? And he paused, scraping some overcooked chicken into the bin, and he said, well, at first it's kind of scary, because when you're on your own, you're really just alone with your thoughts. But then I listen to my feet hitting the path, and there are these starling murmurations this time of year, and I can look at all these little bodies moving in perfect synchronization. They're so beautiful. He said I'd look at that and all the thoughts in my brain just kind of disappear. And I turned to him and I said, just maybe. You're gonna be the one. That saves me.
tell your lucky one to know that you'll leave. Don't you like when you're fleeing? I like not to hear your keys. Only hold till your coffee warms, but don't hurry to speak. Once a time, put a time in your ear on the beach, and your clutch clean heat.